All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, guys, we actually have a pretty quick video because as you can see on the screen right here, let me move my face. Today, we're going to be talking about my top 3 off-meta picks for OP07. And guys, there's a multitude of reasons why I think these leaders are really good picks for OP07 off-meta picks. We're not talking about the best decks in the format, okay? We're talking about the rogue decks, right? We're talking about people who like to do the homebrews and stuff like that. This is going to be right up your alley. So let me give you guys 3 reasons why I think you should play these leaders in OP07, and then we'll dive into this video. Because this will be a pretty quick video by my standard, guys. I want to get these leaders out there, show you 3 quick games, 1 for each, and then we'll talk about it and move on from there. But guys, these 3 leaders, number 1, these are leaders that reward pretty high skill, okay? Especially the 2 on the left you see, Zoro and Zonji and Sabo. Red-Green Oden is a little more straightforward. It's a little more, you know, I don't want to call it like, you know, less skill required, but it's a much more straightforward list, which is not always a bad thing, right? So that's number 1. These are decks that require a lot of skill. Number 2, for newer players or older players, these are extremely cheap decks to put together. That's number 2. Like well under $200. Well under $200. I think Oden's going to cost you like $50. Blue, green, Zoro, and Zonji. It'll depend on the list. It will depend on the list, but I'll show you the list I'm talking about. Blue, green, Zoro, and Zonji will be probably right around $100 to $125, depending on how you build it. And then red, yellow, Sabo is probably going to be right around $150. And that's for like the whole thing, guys. Excuse me. So if you already have some of these cards laying around, it gets that much cheaper. Okay? So that's number 2, is they're super cheap to put together. And number 3, these decks can actually compete, guys. I don't care what anyone says. These decks are absolute sleepers in the format, okay? So we're going to talk about that. Quick layout of the video. We're just going to look over where these decks have placed in the past with almost no one representing them. And then we're going to check out 3 games on the sim, one of each of these leaders. And don't worry, guys, in the future, I will give each one of these leaders their own individual video for OP07. So don't worry, we will have more in the future coming up. And then after we knock out the 3 games on the sim, I'll show you the deck list that I'm running, and we'll talk about it a little bit there and wrap it up in that way. All right, so you know what you're getting into, guys. Let's do this, guys. Let's hop into it. Very excited. These are 3 of my favorite leaders currently in the game. Of course, I still love Black, Yellow, Linlin. That's my baby, right? That's like my first love in this game. But these leaders have to be brought to the front first. I will talk about Black, Yellow, Linlin at a later date. We'll talk about where I think she is in OP07, and I'll show you guys a deck list that I recommend. But for today, these 3 leaders are just outstanding, and they deserve some attention. Okay, so first, what did I just hit, guys? I don't know what I just hit. Oh, here we go. Okay, first we're going to look at where they've placed in the past, in OP07, in the East and the West. So in the East, here's what we have first. We've got, and notice what I'm searching by here, guys. I only have Zoro and Zonji, Oden, and Sabo selected. If you don't see the card, the leader on here, it means there was no option. Like, for example, in this case, there's no, what's his name? Red, yellow, Sabo. Well, that's because it just didn't show up in the OP07 format whatsoever in OP07 for Japan. Okay, so 3 placements right here, guys. First place in a flagship, first place in a store battle for Zoro and Zonji. Top 4 went 4-1 for Red, Green, Oden. That goes to show that there is at least something there, right, guys? Okay, and then what is this? Oh, I just there we go. That was just the first list we were looking at there, guys. The this Oden got like a fly in here. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, now going into EB01, which was OP06.5 for the East. Check this out, guys. 2 Sabo placements, 4 Oden placements, but no Zoro and Zonji placements that I could find. Okay. Then we go to EB01, which is OP06.5 for the English format, and check this out. 4 Sabo placements. 1 got top 64 at a 400-player tournament, and a list that's not on here, guys. There was a list that got top 32 at like a 500-player regional for Sabo as well. Really good stuff there. And I'll have a lot of stuff linked down in the comment section below, guys. Don't worry. I'll have stuff for y'all to find everything in the comment section below if you're interested in pursuing any of these leaders, because they are fun, interesting leaders to play off meta, guys. And then last but not least, from all the way back at the beginning of OP06, just 2 versions of Sabo. And as you can see here, no ST12 Zoro and Zonji, and no EB01 was not out yet. Okay, so good stuff. Now let's look at a few more lists from, or just a few more placings from 8tcg.com. This is a Brazilian deck list website where they have a ton of different rogue deck lists over in Brazil. They love their spice over there, guys. They always have some spicy lists over there. 2 placements, 2 top 4 placements with Kazuki Oden. You know, some of these are smaller tournaments. Understand that, guys. Even on the stuff we saw from over here in Japan, like this one went 4-1. Well, it doesn't really say on all these how big these tournaments were. Like this, the two on the bottom there, 17-player, 15-player tournament. This one was at a 24-player tournament at the bottom. So not all these tournaments are huge, but the point is there is some potential there. Okay, but 2 Odins, you know, top 4 Oden placements here. Now let's go over to Zoro and Sanji. Zoro and Sanji had, let me wait for it to catch up. There it goes. A 2nd place at a 12-player tournament. Not bad. And last but not least, we did Oden, we did Zoro and Sanji, and now we need to do Red Yellow Sabo. Let me find him. Sorry, guys, I don't know what order. There we go. So here's Sabo. Again, 2 top 4 placements, one at a 14-player tournament, the other at a top 8 tournament. Okay? Now, let's talk about these deck lists real quick. I told you guys they're cheap, right? I wasn't kidding. Do y'all see this? Look how cheap these tournaments are, guys. Like, these are these tournaments. Look how cheap these deck lists are, guys. I told you they're cheap. 33 bucks. This is basically a $50 deck because these Otamas, notice there's no price yet. Like, if you click on Denjiro, it'll say a price down here. There is no price for Otama yet because, remember, this is an OP07 card, and that is not even going to be released until Friday. So they can't even sell the card until then. So this price will go up a little bit once you get, you know, to afford this card. Everything else, though, I think is before then. So I think all the other prices should be at least close or if not dead on. Okay, so Red Green Oden, extremely cheap deck to put together. And then you can also upgrade this deck as well. All these lists I'm showing you, you can upgrade later with cards like Newgate, with cards like, you know, Radbeam, things like that. Okay, you can always upgrade them later. Next up is this Blue-Green Zoro and Sanji list here, guys. Did I take some of the cards out? Oh, I did. I'm sorry. So I took out the 2 Doflamingos. Sorry, guys. Hang on one second. I'll add them back. So I had 4 Doflamingos here and then 2 of these. There we go. That's the whole list. So look at this list, guys. What I was showing before I even did the video was that it's way cheaper without these 2 cards in there, and these are not must-haves. These can be upgrades for later. This list right here, now we don't know the full price tag yet on these because this card, okay, let me do a count here. Crocodile, Jinbei, Sengoku, and Trafalgar Law, these 4 cards that I have on that I just went through, they do not have prices. So this, and none of them are SRs except Jinbei. So I mean, you might think, like, I don't know. I think the price might go up 25 bucks at the most if you add all those in from OP07. Again, once we have the price, and once the price, you know, simmers down from the pre-released sales, I think this list will be like well under $150. And it can be made to be under $150 for the people who are on a stricter budget. Okay, and then last but not least, we got Red Yellow Sabo. Guys, this list is just a quick one that I put together. It's 150 bucks. And if you make it, you could make it way cheaper by removing these aces, going down these aces, by the way. There's a lot of things you could do to make this list a lot cheaper. Go down one of these Luffys. I've got Otama in here. I think some lists are actually going away from Otama and actually just going into the more, like, into Koala, into the more Revo Army package. Okay, so there are plenty of ways to adjust this list and make it even cheaper, but even still, it's like a $150 list. It's hard to beat that, you know what I mean? Now, OP07 will give access to Dragon, which we do want. That is a card going in. So let me just add that real quick since I have some spots open. Now, notice, again, there's not a price attached to this because this will be coming out on Friday. So this will probably push the price up to... At first, this will push the price up. Maybe we go down to 2 at first and go from there, but you guys get my point. Very cheap list altogether. Okay, so that's it. We just did a quick breakdown. I'm not going to do a deep dive into each one of these decks like I could do. That will be saved for a future video where I do each one of these leaders individually because they all deserve their own video. Okay, each one of these leaders is extremely interesting and a lot of fun. So, now, with that in mind, let's go over to some games on the sim. Let me go full screen here. Volume is off. First up is going to be Red Green Oden, okay? Red Green Oden. Let me make sure it's on 2x speed for us here. And we're off. We're off to the races. Here we go. Red Green Oden is such an... How do I say this? It is such a fun list to play because out of the 3 decks we're going to be looking at today, this is the most straightforward list. This is just a punch you in the mouth kind of list. I'm just going to play out a card on curve every turn and just run you over. Now, I run Ryumas in my list. A lot of people don't. I don't know why. I guess they're just trying to be even more mid-range than I am. But I guess with me being like a mid-range to control player at heart, I have to have a little bit of control. You know what I mean? And Ryuma is such a great card for that. It can just pop cards like crazy. Okay, sorry. Back to the game. This guy plays out a Sadie plus Mino Chihuahua. He's coming in for 6 and 6 here. I 2K counter out of one. I let him hit with the other because I want to get a little bit of cards in hand so that I know what kind of options I have going into the mid game. Right here, I'm going to swing 5 into 2. This card is dead. There's no way if he saves this card, it will actually help me win this game. But I don't think he's going to save this. Okay, just again, 5 into 2. There's no reason to save it, even if you can. Play out Ryuma to pop his Chihuahua. I'm trying to get some board clear. That's why I like that card, by the way. That card, like I could have played out Izo and established that body, but I would actually rather do it this way to get rid of cards on the board. He has 1 less attack this turn. He's going to swing for 7 here, it looks like. Uses leader effects. He's going to swing for 8. Okay, he's trying to get aggressive, so I am going to counter out of this aggressively. That might have seemed kind of crazy to some people, but here we go. Now we're going to swing 7 with Ryuma. I played out the Izo to attach a Dawn for free to my leader. We're going to go 7 with Ryuma and 7 more with my leader Oden. And now my Oden is going to be a 6K for the turn until the start of my next turn. So my leader is protected. Like I'm in much better shape here. Okay, right here he swings in for 6. I give him a 1K. He swings in for 5. Okay, I'm not going to take it. And then he doesn't swing with Kaido. The logic, there was logic to that, guys. I paused it for a second. There's a logic to that. If he turns sideways with Kaido, I'm going to run his Kaido over for free, and now he's going to be on 6 Dawn next turn. You see what I'm saying? And then I could have even potentially, like say I swung 12 into Kaido, which would have cost me 6 Dawn. That would have cost him 2 cards from hand, and then I could have put the other 4 Dawn on my leader and just gone 10 into him and took another card. I don't. There's probably better ways to do what I just said, but the point is, it will be very, very hard for him to defend that if he goes sideways with it with only 4 cards in hand. He's at 2 life, and he has 4 Dawn. So that really set him back there, and it would have been scary to turn sideways. I know some people still would have argued that it's a good play to do. Sure, I'm not going to argue that. But right here, I'm going to swing 6 into face, or 5 into face, 6 into face, and I'm putting down Kazuki Oden. He has to beat me this turn, right? Because I can come in next turn for, what is it? So for those who are not aware of how Kazuki Oden works, the 8 cost 8,000 power character from OP02, it is an 8 cost 8K that basically can attack twice if you pay 3. So he's swinging 10 into 6. He can have that. I can't pop anything on the board. That's fine. But now it's going to be my turn. He's going to swing in for 6. Sure. Give him a 2K counter right there because I know he has 1 more 6. I'll take that one. Okay, well now it's like I'm just gonna go for it. We're gonna go. I've already done the math in my head for this game. I'm gonna swing 10 at face, and if this goes through, okay, so it did go through is the idea there. So now we're gonna swing for 11 twice. Swing 11, pay 3 untap, swing for 11 more, and that should be game. Now if he could have countered out, I would have swung 11 into his field. You see what I'm saying? If he could, and actually, excuse me, he did counter out. He did counter out of that. Holy cow! But too little, too late in this situation. How funny is that? I did not expect him to be able to counter out of that, but here's the nice thing about this leader. Every card in my hand is a 1K counter, even though it says they're not, even though it doesn't say there are, because of the leader's effect. So he's going to swing for 10. I've already done the math. Let me pause real quick, guys. So I'm a 6,000 power leader. He can only swing for 11 here, and I'm going to get a card from the top of my deck, right? Or, excuse me, from the top of my life. If I take this, and it's going to at least be a 1K, right? Okay. So see what happens. Oh, and I just counter out anyway. So now it's like, okay, swing where you want to. Sure, swing at that guy. I'll replace it with a body, and now we'll just swing 15 at face. That was funny, guys. I haven't played. So some of these games I record, and they just sit in my storage for like weeks at a time. And this game, I did not remember that at all. But either way, it ended up working out. We got the W in the end. Okay, so that's red green Oden. Too funny, guys. So next we're gonna do blue green Zoro and Sanji, and this one is a mirror match. All right, who's the better, Zoro and Sanji? No, I'm just kidding, guys. That's never the case. Now, this guy's running a very interesting list. You'll see as we get into it, but it is very similar to mine. So I play out Buckin. I match him there. I'm going to swing 6 into his Edward Weevil. He's going to counter out, but I'm going to stand up my Edward Weevil and push the Buckin back to hand. Okay, swings for 6. I only need to counter out of one of these attacks this turn is my logic. So okay, and I might counter out of this one too though, because he still has. Oof, that was dangerous not countering out of that, because he could have hit me with a pudding there. But actually, looking at my hand, maybe I was asking for him to hit me with a pudding, because I don't have barely anything good in my hand. Okay, so here we go. Swing for 7 into 6. He's going to have to give me a 2K counter here. He does. Now I'm going to play out Buckin with no effect, just to bounce it back to my hand to restand the Edward Weevil, swing for 7 more into his Edward Weevil. I'm fighting for board control. I'm in no rush this game because look what's in my hand. Next turn, I'm just going to bounce whatever he plays back with my 7 calls Doflamingo, and then I'm going to follow that up with just tons of attacks. Okay, so he plays out another Edward Weevil. And this, it kind of stinks that I have to push this card back to hand, but it is what it is. I'd rather him be able to draw an extra card in this situation than have board presence. So swing 6, I get a 2K counter out of hand. And you need to count, guys. This leader is much harder to play than a red-green Oden is. You need to be counting how many 2K counters they've used up, so that way you know when to swing for lethal. Because right here, guys, I'm like, well, this is less than ideal, right? I'm in a very bad spot here. That's all that's going through my head. So I'm going to swing for 7. Let's see what happens. Okay. If I swing for 7, I might go for game. Okay, understand that. Okay, he takes it. Red rocks the Edward Weevil off the board. No problem. No problem. Let's swing for 7. He takes it. Play out Buckin. Watch this. Swing for 9 at face, return Buckin. Swing for 9 more. He taps out. Now that, guys, look what's in his hand. He had straight gas. Like, if I did not win that turn, I probably lose that game. He was going to be coming in with a Hody Jones. He was going to be coming in with... And he'd be on 10 Dawn. So it would have been Hody Jones smashing in for 8, tapping down any blockers or Dawn I had open. And then he could have returned another card, like the Buckin, to smash it with other stuff. Like, if I had not won that turn, I lose the game. Blue-Green Zoro and Sanji is such a great deck to learn how to optimize, you know, your... how do I say this? You know, to optimize the possibilities, right? Like, okay, do I have enough to go for lethal? Well, let's try it, right? And this will teach you like how to do that. This is a great leader, guys, and it just has lethal out of nowhere sometimes. All right. And last but not least, we got red, yellow, Sabo. Hang on one second, guys. Let me find it over here. All right, here we go. This is an enjoyable game right here. Versus Lucci. Let me go 2x speed. That's another thing I don't think I mentioned enough, guys. These decks that I'm recommending, they have a pretty decent matchup into the meta leaders. Okay, I'm not saying they're going to win every time. You know, please do not misquote me here, guys. But I'm saying they're pretty decent into some of the more meta stuff. Okay, so Sabo here, I'm just going to pass. I did not play out the not the Qual, the Nami, because I didn't want him to pop it with like a Brook or something like that. Okay, notice now this list is OP08, guys. I kind of cheated in this video. This is an OP08 leader deck list, so bear with me. But that's okay. That's why the Jory Bonnie's in there. But that's easy to replace. I was just trying something in this list. Okay, so right here, going to play out the Zoro, going to put a Dawn on him with Nami while establishing the Nami, and I'm going to try to force him to play out a Lucci here because, I mean, first of all, I need to keep the pressure on, and second of all, I'm basically saying if you don't play out Lucci here, then my board's just going to go crazy, right? So let's see what he does. But at the same time, actually, and maybe not, bear with me, I might not be doing that because I might just let him have this Zoro. I can't remember exactly. Guys, are we on 2x speed? Goodness gracious. Okay. Yeah, we're on 2x speed. He swings 5 into there. I'm not defending it. I don't care. I'd rather him attack into my life and him give me more cards. I'm down to 4 cards because in my life, I could have potential triggers. Okay, so he pops that with Kaku. Not worried about it. See, that's another reason why you just should not defend Zoro in that situation. So right here, I'm going to play out the new Jory Bonnie. Really nice interaction here. Attach 1 Dawn to her. I'm swinging for 7. I'm getting to draw 2 trash 1 with that effect. That is... I will talk about that card later, guys, with Red Yellow Sabo. Bear with me, but you're at least getting a little sneak peek in today's video. That card is awesome in Red Yellow Sabo, I think. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. We'll have to see what happens, but yeah. Okay, so my opponent, he is on his, what is that, 7 Dawn turn? He's on his 7 Dawn turn. He can't play out Gecko Moria just yet. He hits a he uses Finger Pistol that you see on the right there, Shigan Finger Gun, and he pops my Jory Bonnie there. He had to get that off the board. Right, like he just absolutely had to remove that from the board. Okay, then he plays out Spandine, uses no effect there, swings with Kaku. I take it because in this version in this list, guys, I'm running so many 2K counters, guys. Or excuse me, so many triggers. Even my 2K counters are triggers, like Frankie and Satori. Really good stuff there. It's running the new Nami too. I'm sorry, guys, this is a big tease right now. Big tease right now, but still, I think this leader is really strong. Okay, swinging 7 into face here. I'm just going to put this card right on top of my life. Watch this. Attach 2 to my leader. So now my leader 7. Push the Luffy back to my life. Make my Satori 7. Swing for 7 there. And then I'm going to swing for 7 forward with my leader. Guys, it's just so good. Like, it's just so much gas. It makes your every attack so much better. It's running straight rush cards. It's gaining life. This list is actually so good, guys. Like talking about Red, Yellow, Sabo. I cannot believe. I've said this multiple times. I know I sound like a broken record, beating a dead horse, whatever you want to call it. I cannot believe that this leader was not played more in the East. I literally can't believe it. It's not believable. Okay, swing into me. Sure, I'll take the Luffy here. So now I'm just going to smash right through, right? Okay, so he swings in for 5. There's a reason for me to take this here to try to risk getting a trigger, but I think he still has one more attack this turn. Or no, he played out Kaku this turn. Okay, well, here we go, guys. If I don't win here, I probably just lose, right? So what I do here is I decide to swing for 6 to force the blocker just in case, because then I can add it to my life, and I have 3 2K counters in my hand, just in case, right? But we're going to swing for 10 unblockable. Let's see what he has. 2, 1, doesn't have it. GG. Good stuff. Well, there you go, guys. So those were 3 quick games on the sim, just to kind of show off, to showcase some of these underplayed, off-meta leaders. They are so awesome, guys. I can't believe more people don't play them. But okay, let me go ahead and wrap up by showing the list that I'm running for each one of these, and then we'll finish it this way. So first up is Red, Green, Oden. I run it as a very straightforward Land of Wano list, but there is room for improvement with some of the Whitebeard Pirate stuff. Let me just show you guys real quick. Okay, in particular, Edward Newgate. This is a great addition to the deck. And I have seen some lists run Marco. I personally don't think that this is the way to go, but there is some options there. The idea is, okay, you know, for Marco, if you have 2 or less life cards, you can trash a Whitebeard Pirates card from your hand on KO to save him. Well, you do have Izo right here, and in that situation, you probably run the Izo Searcher maybe. But I don't. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the Land of Wano, or excuse me, the Whitebeard Pirates version of Kazuki Oden, unless you're just splashing for Edward Newgate. Okay, the other card that I think is worth mentioning is Hody Jones, right here. This character is one of the absolute best closers in the entire game, right? It's one of the best closers in the whole game. So, like, running this character, I totally understand. I get it. But everything else in here, guys, notice what I'm doing. Where's Hiyori? There she is. So this card, in the list that I'm running, this card has 4 targets, which is 16 cards. 4 Izos, 4 Yamato, 4 Denjiro, and 4 Yamasan, Mountain King, whatever. So you're able to, even if you go second, right? Say you go second, which means you're on the even curve, play out Kazuki Hiyori, cheat out Izo, attaches a Dawn to your leader, you're swinging for 7 for the turn, you have a 5-call 7-can play in the Izo. Guys, having a 6K leader is so strong against Red Purple Law right now. Like, it just is. It's just a good thing. I'm not saying they can't win. I'm just saying it is a benefit. And then having all these 7,000 power characters like Denjiro, Izo, and Yamasan, or Mountain King, whatever, it's hard for them to remove these characters. I'm not saying they can't remove them. I'm just saying if they want to remove these characters, it's going to cost them 2 cards from hand. It's going to cost them a Otama plus a Gordon, or a Gordon plus Raise Max, or a Toy Law character, or something else. It's going to cost 2 cards just to get rid of it, unless they're running something like what's it called, Round Table, or Fire Fist. But yeah, anyway, this list right here, very clean, very straightforward. You just run them over, and this list is extremely cheap. And the way to upgrade this list is very basic. You basically just drop the Yamasans, go up to Hody Jones, and go up to Edward Newgates. You know. Oh, another card that is definitely worth considering is Rad Beam. Let me type in Radical Beam. There we go. This card is also a great card to add to the deck, even as like a 2 or a 3 of. I don't think you even need 4 of them, but it's a good card. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Like, if I were to make any adjustments, I'd probably remove about 7 cards. I'd probably remove 4 of the Yamasan, 1 Denjiro, and then maybe 2 2K counters, because there's so many of them. I'd probably remove 2 Otamas, and then go up 2 of everything I said, 2 of the Edward Newgates, 2 of the Hody Jones, and then probably 3 of the Rad Beams. Or maybe even go 3 Edward Newgates, 2 Hody Jones, and 2 Rad Beams. You see what I'm saying? That's kind of the way that I would approach it. And this list, guys, is it is great. It is really, really solid. Okay, so that's Oden. Let's check out Blue-Green Zoro and Sanji, one of my absolute favorite decks, guys. Another criminally underplayed deck list is Blue-Green Zoro and Sanji. So this is the list I showed. It's right around $100, I believe, for this exact list the way you see it, if you don't have a single card. If you already have the ST12 starter deck with some of the Mihawks, well then probably a third of your price or a fourth of your price has already been knocked off. This card is not necessary, guys. I keep saying that. This card is good, though, because imagine what this card does, guys. It's a 7-cost card that pops back a 7 or less to the opponent's hand. So, boom, there goes their whole turn, whatever they played. Just bounce it back to hand. And now I've got a 7,000 power body on the board. I can now stand them up with my Leader's Effect for free. Okay, it's just, or not for free, excuse me. I could stand him up, and he's a 7K attacker without me investing anything extra into it. And then I do run 2 Doflamingos in case you go against like a stall deck like an L or something like that. But other than that, this list is very straightforward. Lots of 2K counters. Check it out. 4 Mihawks, 4 of the other Mihawk, 4 Crocodile, and 4 Trafalgar Law. I'm running the Gecko Morias to get them all back. I'm running Sengoku and Jinbei to do some searching and fixing. And guys, this deck just goes vroom vroom real fast, right? It goes burr. Really, really solid deck. And out of nowhere, your opponent might think they're safe. But it's like, no, I'm sorry, dude. I'm actually going to attack like 5 times on turn 4, with only 3 characters. It's actually insane. Or 4 characters, whatever it ends up being. Really good stuff there. Now, last but not least, Red Yellow Sabo. I think the version I showed, I'll show it. Someone was asking about it in a previous video. They kind of saw it over here. The Gas Guzzler build here. The reason I call it that is because this deck is just straight gas. Like it is, look at this. Rush, 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 rush. Do you guys get the idea here? If it's not a rush card, then it's a 2K counter or it is a trigger card. There's no other option, right? That's all there is. And then I guess, okay, other than Nami, because Nami serves a very specific utility role. Same thing with this, this Luffy and this Nami, and this Bonnie, this new Jory Bonnie. Pause and read it if you want to know the spoiler, guys. If you don't want to, don't read it. But this card's coming out in OP08, so in about 3 months. This deck is so fun and so toxic to play against, even to play, guys, because you're just going pedal to the metal. I don't care. You're either going to beat me or I'm going to beat you. It's going to be an absolute speed duel. You know what I mean? Really good stuff here. Pedal to the metal. All right, guys, I will link all of these videos, or excuse me, I can't even talk right now. I will link every one of these decks down in the comment section below for you to try out for yourself. Now, let me show you guys one more Red Yellow Sabo list that you'll be able to play for OP07. Sorry, guys, I almost forgot to do that. Okay, I think I called it Sabo Beard 7 or Let me just try the Sabo list. Okay, here we go. This is just a nice standard list that I first started with. This is a great list to run, and it's going to run somewhere around the $150 price if you don't have any of these cards, right? To make this deck from scratch, the most expensive cards are going to be Hiyori. Just don't run them. If it's too expensive, just don't run the Hiyoris. Run any other 2K counter in their place, even something like, let me find Koala. Oops, I didn't spell that right. Hang on. There we go. Just run this card if you don't have the Hiyoris. It's completely fine. It's not quite as good, in my personal opinion, for the way this list runs, but it's still just fine because it's a 2K counter at the end of the day. The only synergy you lose is the Momonosuke synergy and Hiyori setting cards at your top life, like you're the one who should disappear. It's good, trust me. Hiyori's very strong. There's a reason it's like 15 to 20 bucks a card right now. But Koala is fine as a replacement if you're on a budget. Okay, so now, anyway, I will link everything down in the comment section below. I'll even try to add featured matches from other YouTubes showing off these leaders and like highlights about the 3 that I showed. And let me also bring that up real quick. Here we go. I will, like I said, I'll have everything linked in the comment section below. I'll have everything timestamped in the video if you want to just jump to a certain leader that you like more than the others and all that good stuff, guys. Well, all right, let me finish off with the patrons page. Big shout out to everybody who helps me out, anyone who buys the mat, all my VV Pirates playmat supporters over here. Big shout out to you guys. Thank y'all so much for helping me out in the ways y'all do. In fact, guys, hang on. This one I actually have to update because I don't even have the correct list in. I had a few more people since. There we go. All right, there we go. So I had it saved. I just didn't update the file location for this one. So there we go. Big shout out to everybody who helps me out. I really do appreciate you guys so much. And then also with the patrons, the VV Pirates patron page. Thank you guys so much for all the help y'all give me. It means the world to me. You're helping me make this into a full-time gig. But for anyone who just watches, likes, shares, subscribes, What did I leave out? There's usually 5 of them. Watch, like, subscribe, share, comment. That's the other one. If you guys do that stuff, it helps me out. You don't have to spend any money on me. Just feeding the algorithm like that for YouTube helps me out in more ways than you can imagine. All right, guys, that's it. I'm done. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, peace.